Today I am going to try the ASIAir Plus from ZW to control my telescope and my mount. Let's see how it goes. Hey guys, Quiv the Lazy Geek here, and today we're going to look at this product, the ASIAir Plus, which is the third generation of the ASIAir, which is a system to control your mount and telescope made by ZW. It's basically a small Raspberry Pi based system where you can control the mount, do Gotos, plate solving to automatically center the telescope. You can do autofocus, you can do guiding, multi-star guiding. All of this kind of stuff is doable with the ASIAir, the ASIAir Pro, and currently the new version, the ASIAir Plus, which as far as I understand will be released in November. I got an advanced sample from ZW. I approached ZW to ask if they wanted reviewers, although I did mention that I would be like, I would have complete editorial freedom and that my review might not be good. And they said yes. They said, yes, we're going to send that to you, and we're actually going to send it to you for free. You don't have to return it to celebrate your recovery from your injury. It's difficult to refuse like free stuff, and I accepted. Obviously, I need to disclose that I am receiving this for free, so be aware that unconsciously it could taint my review, but I guess like the best judge will be to see whether I keep using it in my follow-up videos, which would probably be the best way to judge the ASIAir Plus. So as I mentioned, the ASIAir Plus is a product that lets you control everything from your telescope to your focuser to your mount, so you can automate the whole session. In essence, it's pretty much similar to the software that I use right now called n.i.n.a, but that requires Windows and a Windows computer to run. This is wholly integrated. It is small, it takes 12 volts, and it also has 12 volt outputs to help with my very shoddy cable management. So actually, I have high hopes for this. At the same time, I'm kind of dreading it because I spent a lot of hours working on n.i.n.a for things like the unlinked stretch or autofocus, and I put a lot of my sweat and tears into that. And yeah, I'll see whether this can help replace n.i.n.a, at least for my portable setup, because this in particular I think can be very useful in when you're taking the whole equipment to darker zones. Anyway, I haven't opened this yet, so I'm going to open it now and see how it looks like. So it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. We'll see if that's really the case. Something tells me it's not going to be the case. Okay, we have first some kind of thank you card. Thanks to our ASIAir users for your continued support, except that for me it's not my continued support, it's my first experience with the ASIAir. Oh, my word, it's small. Oh wow. Okay, now that, yeah, that's small. Let me get my PC. Yeah, size comparison between the ASIAir Plus and the computer, yeah, no contest, huh? Even the thinness is completely different. I do not know how this compares to previous versions of the ASIAir because it's the first time that I use this. And I'd say it's probably the good timing for me. The third generation of a product is typically where things have stabilized. And as you can also see, it has a shoe, kind of like for a finder shoe. So unfortunately, my little telescope has only space for one finder shoe, but it came with this kind of how would you call it, a leg, or I don't know, here, and I hope that I'll be able to put the ASIAir Plus on top like that by removing the finder shoe first. Anyway, this is really small and light. Wow. I've also, by the way, gotten ready with a tablet to control all of that. This is actually originally a variometer for paragliding, but it's also an Android tablet. And I've also gotten a 128 micro SD card that I had chilling around on my desk that I'm going to use. Let's see what else is in the package. So in the package we have a quick start guide. This is good. I have actually read the whole manual for the ASIAir Pro, but there's no manual available for the ASIAir Plus at this stage. We have an activation guide. Yeah, that's something I read. Apparently you need to activate the ASIAir. I don't like that, to be honest, but then that's because I don't like things like Apple in general. I don't like having to activate stuff. We'll see how it goes, but that's kind of like actually one of my points of worry. We have a small USB 3 cable here, and then we have what looks to be power cables. That's actually really nice. DC 12 volt cables. We have short ones, DC to DC, longer ones, short ones again. I'm dropping stuff as always, at least it's not going to get broken. Actually, that's really good to have all those cables. Okay, let's see how I can mount this on this. So actually, as I am looking at the ASIAir Pro, I see we have some screws here. One of them looks like it is a 1/4 tripod kind of screw, so you could just like plonk it on a tripod there. There's 2 additional screws, so I guess yeah, I could make it go like that, but it doesn't look ideal. Yeah, like this, sorry. That could work. It could be on top of the let's see, actually. We have the shoe here, and I want to make sure that the ASIAir doesn't basically interfere with the guider. I can go either direction, so I'll probably try horizontally so that I keep the center of mass as close as possible to the mount. Okay, I found a wrench, and we have those small screws. Let's see if we can reuse them. This is pretty cool. Again, we seem to have a tripod mount here, along with additional screw holes. So really, to mount the ASIAir Plus, it seems to be pretty good. We also have the input, the output, and a Wi-Fi password, and we'll see how this works. So I'm a bit anxious about that. So let's see, I'm gonna put this like this, and let's see if I can actually screw it in. Okay, so for me and for my particular telescope leg here, the screw head is slightly too small, so I'm gonna see if I have some washers that I can use with those screws. And the answer is yes, I do have some small washers, so it's good. You may need that as well, depending on your setup. Obviously, if you're just going to put it on a finder leg, you're not going to have the problem, if I can call it that, that I'm having. So now it's all about making things fit. Okay. And here is how it looks like. So with the washer inside and the screws that were with the ASIAir to start with, it seems pretty well set here. I have intentionally set it so that it would go towards the front, so that the weight is on the front to kind of counteract the weight at the back. So it doesn't really make a big issue, and I think it looks good like that. So now I am going to screw down that particular leg to the telescope, so that we'll be ready to use the ASIAir, and it's going to be mounted. Now, I've never started this ASIAir. I have no idea how it's going to work, but first I will just like get the whole thing connected, all the cables in, just so we know that we're good to go. Tonight, right now, there are some blue skies a bit, but it's expected to get cloudy by the time it gets dark. So we'll see if that's the case. I really want to be able to test this out before it gets cloudy. We'll see. Okay, and here we are with the ASIAir Plus mounted. I have to say, it looks really good with the ASIAir here, my focuser, my camera, and my guide camera. And this is another thing to mention. The ASIAir Plus only works with some DSLRs, Canon and Nikon DSLRs, and with ZW cameras. So if you have a QHY camera, for instance, or Altair Astro or whatever, you cannot use it with the ASIAir. That's one of the, let's say, strategies that ZW put in place to build basically their ecosystem and kind of lock you into their ecosystem. It so happens that at this time, most of my camera are from ZW, but I was using the QHY5 2L or whatever the name is, that old camera for this particular guide scope here, and I had to switch it to my ASI 178mm. It is a better camera, and it has a wider field of view and smaller pixels, so it's better for guiding anyway, but it's still something to keep in mind. If you grow dependent on the ASIAir Plus, which is what they intend you to become, you will have a strong incentive to buy ZW products. Now, it so happens that, in my opinion, most ZW products are really good. But it is something to keep in mind. They also only support the ZW-EAF focuser, whether it's the old version that I have here with 12 volt input or the new version. So if you have another focuser, you're out of luck. One of the advantages, by the way, of mounting the ASIAir Pro on the front here is that I can orient the antenna to basically be broadcasting downwards. And my living room is downstairs, right? So if I'm wanting to try, hopefully the signal will get through 2 layers of floor. We'll see. I have my doubts. At worst, I'll just connect it to my home network, and we'll see what happens. So yeah, now let's get some cables connected. One of the first things that I want to do is connect the power. So I have to power my camera. I have to power my focuser here. And I want to power my mount as well. One of the big issues I have with my mount is that it's powered by a weird adapter here that I really don't like. It goes back to a cigar plug, and I wish I had like an adapter from this to this. I don't, so I have something very janky. I have a female DC 12 volt to cigar plug. Then I can put this here, power the mount itself, but this is female, so it cannot go in here. And so I can use one of the cables that ZW provides, and I'm glad they provide it because I don't have such a cable otherwise, at least not on hand right now. And then I can finally plug it here. Yes! Now this will be able to power my mount, but if you guys know what the name of this thing here from Skywatcher to normal 12 volt male would be, or if it exists, or if I can find it on Amazon Japan, I'd be super happy to hear about it, because this is really janky, and I'm really worried that this could get disconnected in the middle of the night. I am not sure exactly how I will connect this. I'm kind of thinking of maybe like keeping this actually separate from the ASIAir, but I'll see. For now, we're just gonna play like this with this particular cable. We also have a cable that we need to the focuser. I wish I had one of the newer focusers without the need for a 12 volt power cable. That would be really neat, but I don't. So I can just use one of the cables, and here we are. So now we're powering the focuser as well, and we'll think about cable management later. And then I can use yet one of the other provided cables, and really I like that they provide all of those cables. Makes sense, but I like that they do, to go from here, from the ASIAir to the camera at the back. There. So now we'll be able to power the mount, the focuser, the camera, and there's still one more thing that we'll need to power. It's a dew heater. So maybe I'll connect it later. I don't want to just stretch things too thinly to start with. So now we've connected the power. I now need to connect the USB ports to the guide camera, the autofocuser, the main camera, and we don't have a filter wheel, but otherwise I would need to do so as well. The plugs are all here. We have 2 USB 2s and 2 USB 3s here, so the blue ones are the USB 3s. And I think, like, normally what I would do is connect the focuser and the guide cam to the hub on the main camera here. But what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to only connect the focuser to the main camera, because the 178mm has a lot of pixels to drive, and I think it will work better for guiding if I have it on USB 3 rather than USB 2. So I'll have USB 3 connection directly to the ASIAir for my guide cam. For the main cam, we'll have USB 2 connection to the, well, we could have it directly on the ASIAir as well, on the USB 2.0. And we could also have the USB connection to the mount on the last USB port available. Obviously, I have 2 ports on the camera itself, So we have enough ports even if I had a filter wheel as well. So let's get started with what I said. We're gonna have USB 2 to this camera, to this focuser. We're gonna have, well, the USB 3 that they provided to the main camera. It's just the right size. So we're gonna have it on USB 3 to the main camera. We're gonna have another USB 3. I really need to find a smaller USB 3 cable. We're gonna cable manage at some point in the future. And we're gonna put it, oh my God, this is ugly, to the guide camera. There we are. And then we have the last USB that will go to the mount in the end once I put the telescope on the mount. First, I'm just gonna connect the ASIair part of it. And here we are, we have a joyous mess of cables, but you know me, I always have a joyous mess of cables. Let's put this on the mount and then we'll turn it on. Is there a switch? Yes, there is. You see how well I am informed. Yeah, let's try that. Okay, let's put that mess of cables on top of the mount. It really is a mess. I'll need to do something about that. Okay, so here we are. And now, this is ugly. I'll need to do something about this. But for now, we're making things work. I'm going to plug in the mount. I'm also going to plug the USB to the mount. Here we are. We're using direct USB connection to the mount because this mount has a USB port. Whew. And we are going also to power the ASIair Plus. And since I am at home, I am going to use an AC adapter that is 12 volt, 6 amps. Should be more than enough to power everything. So let's get this plugged in on the ASIair. I like that it seems to have there are some kind of teeth, metal teeth on the 12 volt input, which probably makes it a bit more difficult to get pulled off during the night, which is really neat, especially for Meridian flips, which I don't know, does it do them automatically? I sure hope so, we'll see. So now everything's connected. I will be able to turn this on. Although before I turn it on, I'm gonna plug in my little micro SD card because I think I'm gonna use a micro SD card to basically transfer data to my desktop computer where I do my processing. If I can somehow transfer files over the network, that's what I'm gonna do, but somehow I doubt it. Okay, so now let's turn this on. And let's go on the tablet. So I am first going to go to my Wi-Fi and we are going to attempt to connect to the Wi-Fi network that should have been created. Yes, it is here. And the password is supposed to be 12345678 for good security. Then I'm going to connect to it and hopefully my Android device will stay connected even though I don't have internet on it. Because some Android devices really do not like being connected. So yeah, it tells me no internet access, stay connected, and yes, absolutely, I want to stay connected. If you're using that on the phone, you may have to disable the data connection, so 4G or 3G or 5G, whatever, before you connect. Next, I'm gonna go inside the ASIair app, which I installed before this session just to get myself ready. Yes, the app is running as I am able to tell. And here we are. Okay, so I see. First things first, we need to update the firmware. I didn't expect that. So yes, update now. Apparently it will take several minutes. Yeah, I'll wait the several minutes and get back to you once it's ready. Okay, the install is actually done. It took probably just a minute, maybe less. And now I need to do online activation. But I'm not online. How do I do online activation if I'm not online? Getting authorization code, but I'm not online. How is this supposed to work? Okay, Okay, I get it. I think I have to do it from my phone. So I need a phone with network for the initial activation. This is why I don't like activations. Activations suck. Connect your device. Yeah, I want to connect my device to the internet, but I only have one Wi-Fi, dude. Okay, and now I'm back to ASIair on my phone. I wanted to avoid that because my phone is really bad and it keeps freezing up, and I really want to buy a new phone. But okay, anyway, let's try the online activation. Will it work this time? And I hope it's the only time that I need to be online. Yes, it's activated. Okay, and I am back on my tablet. It seems we don't need to do activation per device, which is good. And first thing, it's interesting because it asks me for my latitude and longitude. Now this tablet has a GPS, so it knows exactly where I'm located. I use that GPS all the time because I use this tablet while flying. So I will input location, not my absolutely exact location, but approximate locations for now in here. Okay, so now I have input my approximate location. My mount, we're going to use EQ mode mount. Because I don't need to use Sky Safari. I think that's going to work. Here we are. My main scope is 275 millimeters. My guide scope is, I believe, 120 millimeters. My main camera is the... Oh, that's nice. That's really nice. It just recognized the cameras. My guide camera is this one. Yeah, okay. I have no electronic filter wheel, but Dude, I have an EAF. Why don't you recognize the EAF? Okay, and I kind of struggled for a bit here because I just could not for the life of me make this focuser work or the mount work or the cooling on the camera work. And I realized, and this is because I'm not used to custom power delivery solutions, that you need to turn on the DC ports one by one. Upon boot up, when ASIair Plus boots up, they're on automatically, but then they turn off at the end of the booting sequence. And I can see that on the tablet now. And I can turn on 1, turn on 2, turn on 3. And yes, now it detects the EAF, so now it's working. So now I understand why the EAF was not detected. It's just, something new to me, this kind of power delivery. So yeah, and we have here, what does it tell us? So the first one is actually the camera. The second one is the focuser. And the third one is the telescope. There we are. Oh, this is actually super cool. Oh, this is super cool. Oh my word. Yeah, it's not at all what I thought it would be, and it's actually really, really cool. I also replaced the power cable to the official one provided by ZW because it actually has a little thread kind of on the connector to prevent it from being pulled out during slewing, for instance. So now the EAF, we should be able to connect to it, and yes, we can. That's great. And the slow step is 10, the coarse step is 30. That's actually a pretty good setting for my telescope as I know it. But otherwise, you'll need to do stuff like you have to do in n.i.n.a. And I see that we need to set the backlash. I know the backlash for my particular focuser here is around 120. So I'll put it as 120, but that's because I already know from my experience in n.i.n.a. So if you don't know it, one of the easy ways is actually to just look at your focuser itself, move the focuser in one direction using ASIair, then move it in the other direction by small steps until you physically see the focuser finally moving. And the number of steps that you had until you see it moving is your backlash. Okay, so can I also cool the camera now? So the main camera, I'm telling it again that it is the 533 MC Pro. It's connected now. And I will want to turn, to put the gain to 100. The cooling, I'm going to turn it on and I'm going to set it to 0 degrees for now. Okay, and I can hear the fan has ramped up, so I think it's doing something. I'm not sure exactly where I can see the cooling doing something. Guide settings, so my guide camera, again, I'm going to tell it it's the 178mm. We are now connected. The guide scope length is fine. And I think I'm gonna set gain to something like in the middle like that, so that we have good guiding. Calibration step, maximum declination duration. And since I keep my equipment done, I'm gonna have auto restart calibration. Dither settings, I know that I will want to do dithering, and I will want to probably move by 5 pixels. And my interval, typically I took short exposures, so every 5 frames is typically fine for me. Oh, this is cool. So we have all of the settings that I want for dithering. So that's actually really nice. I don't know that the calibration step of 2000 seconds is I think it's going to be too high for my scope. I think the calibration steps, from what I remember in PhD2, should be more around 800 milliseconds. So yeah, I don't know if there's a guide assistant in here like we have in PhD2, but it feels like it's something we should have. The EQ mode mount is powered. Well, we're going to try to connect it. And we are connected. We have the Meridian flip settings, and I do not want to stop tracking before the Meridian, but I want to do the auto Meridian flip maybe 10 minutes after the Meridian. And we can also sync the position of the phone to the mount, although again, for some reason, it did not take the GPS information from my tablet. I also tried with the phone. It didn't want it, didn't take it. So we don't have a filter wheel. We have the EAF, and we're going to be saving to my SD card, because then I can just like move it. So now, can I also have my dew heater here? I can go back to my power management, and we're going to turn on the other device. And does it have dew heater? Yes, it does. Very nice. Dew heater is there, and yeah, we can see the output. Cool. And can we see the temperature of the camera? Yes, it's currently at minus 1.5 degrees. Oh, this is so cool, actually. And we can go to with the mount. So if I go to tonight's best, yeah, it's not going to be great, but let's see. Yeah, this one. Yeah, how do I select you? This is actually working. I'm impressed. Mount slews to target position. It's slewed. Yeah, no, you're not going to be able to solve, dude. Especially if I still have the cap on. Oh, cool. So it tried immediately to plate solve. So we're going to wait for some good weather, and then we're going to try our first imaging session with the ASIAir Plus. So it's a new paradigm for me, definitely something to get used to. You can tell it's really my first time with this. It's a whole new world. For now, it seems to be working. There were a few hiccups on the way, as I mentioned, like the position didn't seem to be gotten from my tablet, even though it had GPS. I tried with the phone, also didn't get the position from there. I don't know why, the location. The power delivery, it turns it off by default, which means that upon first boot up, it didn't detect the EAF. And it was not immediately obvious where you should set it up, because it's like the Wi-Fi thing is like the settings and not just the Wi-Fi, and then you need to turn it on there. Oh yeah, and another of the hiccups was the activation, where you really need a phone connected to the internet for the activation. But otherwise, once it's done, once it's set up, it's pretty cool. And I have the autofocus set up, I have the dithering set up, auto guiding. We'll see if it works in the session. Yeah. So many things to check. Sorry, I've been rambling a bit because it's really completely new to me, but thank you so much for watching. There will be a follow-up video with actually using the ASIAir Plus in the flesh. but with an actual starry sky and taking exposures. But that's going to be for next time. If you don't want to miss this video, don't forget to, if you're not subscribed, go and click that subscribe button, click the like button, leave a comment, etc. As always, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget whenever to look up at the stars, and I'll see you next time.